Yo, welcome back to the channel on another 7.4 boss solo video. So we're here with 7.4.4, I believe, today. And yeah, I actually technically don't get all three solos. In fact, I only technically get one of the three. However, two of these that are coming up first, I believe, are very, very close. So I wasn't going to waste time restarting. But let's get into them and you'll see how close I get with two of these. So first up, we've got annihilus. The main node on him is odometer. Basically, as you dash forward and backwards throughout the fight, this little meter, which you can see the counter for up in the top left, is going to ramp up towards 200. And I think you have like a damage reduction based on how low that is. So the higher and closer it gets to 200, the more damage you'll do. And yeah, name of the game is basically just to kind of keep moving about along the screen. Every time you throw a special, it's going to reset this, so you don't want to be too trigger happy with specials or your damage is going to be significantly reduced. And you've just got to play their game basically. Against a champ like annihilus as well, that can make for a really interesting fight, let's say. And this was definitely one of the ones I found to be a weirder, almost enjoyable, but definitely a harder fight, I found at least, going through exploration. So what else has he got? He's also got steadfast, which basically every 5 hits you're going to gain these little steadfast buffs, which will allow you to block unblockable hits, which is useful because I believe at some point he does go unblockable. Yeah, so I just double checked, and yeah, the defender does go unblockable when your odometer goes above 100, which is also when you gain a passive fury. So yeah, the steadfast helps there in case you just need to land a parry or whatever in that phase. Because you can block unblockable hits for every steadfast buff you have. There's also parry vulnerability, so naturally you're going to do a lot more damage when the defender is stunned. And the defender also gains increased duration for their unstoppable buffs. So a lot going on in this fight, and yeah, just generally a lot to manage. Makes for quite an interesting fight. Looking back at it, I genuinely think that Claire might have actually been a better option for this personally, just because her healing would have come in handy for sure when making mistakes. But you're going to see I do get literally within touching distance off a solo. I think it might be soon that I mess up, and you'll see like I literally make one mistake where I could have got the solo, but instead just miss out. I think it is coming up very, very soon. You can see here, I've got these steadfast buffs now as well, so even though he's unblockable, I could be parrying a bit more freely there. Clearly I've forgotten, and you can see I was trying to force intercepts, which, you know, the point of those buffs. So definitely things I could have done a lot better in this fight to get the solo. Yeah, we're going to get very, very low before I do inevitably make a mistake that costs me my life. I think it's coming up very close now. Yeah, it was there. So I throw the special too, and I probably shouldn't have pushed him to 3 bars. It wasn't quite enough to kill him. But yeah, we're going to go back in and finish the fight straight after this. I think I had the House of X pre-fight for this as well. That is something I would advise, just if you've got it and the space on the team for it. It just gives you free parries against annihilus, who obviously sometimes you can't when he's got debuffs on you. He has unstoppables as well, and yeah, he can get very rough if you get kind of pinned in the corner against him. But overall, not too bad a boss. Definitely soloable, and yeah, probably several options out there. So Doom and Claire probably top 2 options for myself. Right, so second boss up here, we've got a Mojo, and this is once again one I just miss out on the solo for, but it was close enough that I just like, yeah, keep it in. I don't want to be redoing paths I've already done. You know, I was kind of aiming to do as many boss solos as I could as I was exploring, so yeah, these are the 2 that kind of slipped away from me, but that's not a bad output out after 5 quests, which is what, 15 bosses, 13 out of 15 soloed, and 2 literally on the brink of solo while exploring and not having to redo any paths. So we go in with Torch here. Again, we've got the House of X pre-fight just for longer stuns, extra damage as well. Yeah, getting into the nodes, so he's got Oscillate, which basically means he's going to cycle between these phases of a more aggressive high attack phase where he's got 200% boosted attack by passive fury, which, as you can see, getting hit there took a pretty significant dent out of my health. Then he also cycles into these increased armor phases where he'll be really defensive. But you do also have a node on you, I think it's called No Surrender. Basically, you take 90% reduced damage from degen effects, which is really helpful against Mojo, where huge amounts of his damage come from that degen. But for every bar of power you fill, you lose 30% of that resistance to the degen. So obviously you can imagine if you get 1 bar of power, it becomes 60% resistance. And if he's in the Fury phase, that degen is going to tick for a lot. So the aim here is to get rid of your specials as soon as you get them. You can also knock the defender down to transfer the degens that are on you over to the defender, so that's highly useful here with the blocks. As you can see, just didn't quite get the solo. Every time you parry as well, you'll get a fury buff on you, but like I say, because of the reduction to the degens, it doesn't matter as much, and it's going to help you with a little bit more damage. And finally, there's also, for every block you do, your block proficiency gets reduced until the 10th one, where it goes unblockable. So yeah, not too bad a fight. Torch really a good solo option, just couldn't quite get it in my attempts. As you see, once again, very, very close there. But yeah, now on to the final boss, which is Super Skrull, and we do get the solo. I think even a full yellow bar with Claire is my option here. So what are the main nodes on him? He's got bullet time, he's got steady perseverance, feats of power, stun vulnerability. So bullet time basically means every time you parry, he's going to shrug it off and he's going to gain an evade charge. And the idea is you let those evade charges kind of stack up a little bit, and then you dex, and they will get converted into a passive stun. Obviously, if you let him keep the evade charges, if you try to hit him, he's going to evade. So the aim is just kind of parry as much as you can, build up some of those charges, then dex a hit, and then he's passively stunned for a little bit, and you're per, kind of charge, and you're free to hit him. The key thing I'd say to focus on is don't try to just go for as many of those as possible. You only need a few for the passive stun to be long enough for you to do some damage, and kind of you want to manage him and his buffs. You don't want him to go stun immune as well as best as possible. So Claire, really good for that, the buff immunity, just preventing that, and all his other buffs. He's also incinerate immune, so in Hellfire mode, I can, his immunity is just going to help me gain more power and just keep cycling those special twos. Stun vulnerability as well means more damage when he is getting those passive stuns after the evade charges get converted. And yeah, generally not a bad fight. Claire, really good for it. At the moment I'm not at full yellow, but as you can see, getting some willpower healing off that falter debuff. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I do end up with a full yellow bar for this, and Claire is just really, really good for it. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to say for this fight really, so I will leave the commentary at that for this one. It is a slightly lengthy fight with Claire, but yeah, just a good fun one to do with her. Thankfully we do get the solo, full yellow bar at the end as well, it's brilliant. That'll be all for me for this one, and yeah, take care, and I'll see you in the next one, which will probably be the 7.4.5 solo video as well, as I do have those recorded. And yeah, would like to get those out before the Eternity of Pain starts, and I'll have potentially some other content to post from that. Yeah, take care, see you in the next one.